So it's one of the warm days of January and quite warm, around 11 or 12 degrees, a bit windy. I hope the wind doesn't come through and ruin the audio. But it's very warm up here, and it's one of the few days that I can come out and actually enjoy myself because I'm not cold adapted. I much prefer the heat. So I'm looking for wildlife up here. I haven't seen too much actually. The most likely candidates are deer, owl, and to a lesser extent, porcupine. I saw a porcupine not too long ago, but they're not very easy to see. The deer are much easier to see, and there was a great horned owl around here, but so far I haven't seen anything yet. So I'm searching around here for stuff, and I'm going to go all over this mountain here and hopefully find at least one species that I can photograph. I only have one camera and one lens today, 600 millimeters, perfect for wildlife, so let's go and see if we can find any. Anyway, the deer are just feeding down over that ridge, but I'm always trying to stay a good distance away from them because they're so peaceful eating, and it would be a great shame to disturb them. And I think the most important thing in wildlife photography, at least for me, maybe not even wildlife photography, but wildlife experiences, is to be alone with the animals and just watch them and watch them at peace without much interference. And that's really cool. And if you can cultivate moments like that, then you're probably going to get good pictures, because I think the peace of the environment will come through your photographs. So it's very nice here because it's very isolated, and I really can't see much of civilization around except for the odd airplane. And of course I can hear the roads, but other than that, I can't really see much civilization around. And the deer are just feeding calmly, so it's cool to watch them. It's getting dark, so I probably won't get too many more shots of them, but it's nice to watch them anyway. They're just eating. It's quite amazing that they can survive out here on this dry, brown grass, but they can, which is cool. So it is getting a little bit cold now. The sun is setting. I can still see the vestigial light in the Rocky Mountains in the distance. And, well, it's time to go home for real. The sky looks very nice. There's something really cool about winter light. Didn't see too many birds today. There aren't too many birds in this park. There's a giant flock of magpies a little earlier. And I'm coming up to a tree where I once saw an owl. I think it was a short-eared owl maybe, or a great horned owl. I couldn't really see because it was so dark, but it was an owl that landed in the tree around here. But that's probably the only time I'm ever going to see an owl land in that tree. It's very hard to see owls in general. There were only a handful of times where I've ever found an owl myself. There were a few times where I found owls in known locations. There was one time in Arizona where one guy had an owl roosting in his telephone pole, which was quite cool. That was an elf owl. I think that owl would be very hard to see. The most common owls in this park are great horned owl, long-eared owl, short-eared owl, and I think that's it. I think those are the three most common owls around here, with the most common probably being the great horned owl. And there may be other owls that have been seen around here. I'm not entirely sure about that. Probably. I haven't checked eBird in a while. Yeah, so eBird, I haven't used eBird in the longest time. And that's for a variety of reasons, but I do think that sometimes eBird does put a bit of a mechanical feel on bird watching. It emphasizes birds that you can identify. It identifies scientific classification rather than the holistic experience of observing nature. So that's one reason why I sometimes don't like to use eBird. I think eBird is a good tool, but I think it also has a danger of injecting some mechanization into the appreciation of nature, and I don't like that either. So anyway, I think that's probably all for today. I'm going to walk home now, and I don't think I'm going to see any more wildlife, so I'm going to put my camera away soon because I have to climb up and down some very large hills, and it's more safe in my backpack. But I think it's time to put the camera away. It's getting very dark anyway. I think I would have to handhold absurdly long shutter speeds to get a good shot, or do motion blur photography. Actually, I've been doing quite a lot of motion blur photography. But anyway, that's probably a topic for another video. So I hope you enjoyed this little tour of my wildlife excursion for today. And I'll see you again next time.